So today we'll be talking about how to manifest with your emotions. Welcome, welcome. My aim is that these trainings on the Living Abundance Show are around 30 minutes. But allow yourself a little window, allow yourself 45 minutes, even 60 minutes to review, to reflect on what we're talking about, because I'm giving you a lot of information in a very short period of time that takes time to integrate. It takes time to digest and to land. So if you can allow yourself time to really sink in, land into the space, that you'll receive the most out of it. So that being said, I'd like to invite you to switch off all distractions, to really be present here so you can be present with yourself. The more that you receive from this session, the more that you can receive yourself and receive the gifts from this session today. I recommend paper and pen. I recommend a journal, something to write down, something to capture your insights, your awarenesses when we grab them. So welcome Samantha, welcome Sandra, so nice to have you here. Keep saying hello to everyone as we land in. Wonderful, wonderful. So I'd like you to take a moment to take a deep breath and welcome all of you here. Take a deep breath to welcome all of you here as we prepare for today's live training. As you breathe in, you're practicing expanding into receiving on a new level. Opening up to receiving yourself, receiving what you're here to create, to manifest, receiving from the earth, receiving from life. Let's breathe in and receive fully from today. Thank you and welcome. So today we'll be talking about how to manifest with your emotions, understanding the creative intelligence in your emotions, how to manifest with your emotions, and the badass boss bitch business boundaries that your emotional intelligence system can guide you into, which is a very, very important part of manifesting. So let's see what we can get through today. Open up to receive and breathing in to take in this very important information today. I'd like to start with a little story. Start with a little story about how I learned about this, because I tell you what, it's been a long journey. It's been a lifelong journey. It's taken me time to figure this out, right? Most things I teach, I've learned the hard way. I've learned from challenge, from struggle, and then finding the gold, the gold within the pain. So I'd love to share with you how this began. And I grew up in a household where, let's just say, emotions weren't very welcome. They weren't very welcome. I grew up in a house where everything was presented as perfect. So perfect house, perfect family. And we got validation from what we did, our letter of action, and our presentation out in the world. Now, little Lara didn't fit into this so well. I learned the game, but actually little Lara was highly emotional, highly sensitive, and had a whole lot of feelings, right? A whole lot of feelings. It took me a long time to understand. I'm an empath, highly sensitive, and emotional being, right? So what happened is I had feelings like anger and frustration. I was quite wild. I was quite naughty. And I also, which I didn't really allow myself to acknowledge for a very long time, had a lot of fear. But these emotions were not welcome in my family. And so these are parts of myself that got kind of shamed and shut down and put in the underground. And, these emotions, unacknowledged emotions manifested in all sorts of, health problems, physical health problems, emotional imbalances, mental challenges, I would say, really mental unrest. And I've been on this very long journey of healing. It's been 25 years of really understanding what the heck went on, right? What the heck went on? And so what I've had to learn to do is, and again, I've been sort of guided through a very long process, is to understand that actually what was really, really going on here. And so what I want to know is, I want to know if you're listening in, would you describe yourself as an emotional person or a sensitive person? I'd really love to know who would identify as feeling quite emotional. I'm a very emotional person, a very emotional person. And I've learned to really honor these emotions and acknowledge these emotions. But like I said, it's been a long journey because that was not what was taught for me growing up. So what I learned, right, was that there is a great intelligence. There's an emotional intelligence. I used to feel that I was really unintelligent. I had real insecurities around my intelligence until I discovered emotional intelligence. I'm like, I'm a genius. I'm a genius when it comes to emotional intelligence. So it was very funny when I understood there was something called emotional intelligence. I was like, I know all about those. I know all about those. So there's different types of intelligence, and I want to talk about emotional intelligence. And so on my journey, how I discovered this emotional intelligence was I got into healing through my physical health problems, so healing with food, healing in general. And then I started to play with manifestation. I remember very well when these ideas of manifestation and the law of attraction came into my life. And so I started, the very kind of beginner 101 of the idea of vision boards and visualization and all of that. And I was really having fun playing with these ideas. So I was like, all right, let's put this to the test. And I remember I needed a certain amount of money to go to do Panchkarma, this Ayurvedic retreat in India, which is a 6-week retreat. And I needed a certain amount of money and I didn't have it. And I remember practicing these tools and techniques. And I literally manifested the exact amount of money I needed from unexpected places. And I was blown away. I thought, oh my God, this stuff works. So I was starting to really play. But what I discovered was I'd be, visualizing, imagining some of these things that I wanted. But what would happen to me with some things is literally the exact opposite would start showing up, right? And it's so important to be in a positive mindset and a positive emotion. And I would be, with some things I was trying to manifest, discovered that the very opposite was happening, where I'd be in the opposite emotion and I think, oh my God, I've got to get rid of that bad feeling because I'm going to manifest it, and I've got to be in a positive mindset and positive visualization. And so I was really trying to get rid of these kind of bad feelings or bad experiences to get back into in positive vibration, which that is an aspect of manifestation, but for me, a very kind of young or very beginner kind of point of view when it comes to this. And again, I've learned this because I've been on this path for 20 years, right? I've learned this through lots and lots of experience, both personally and also professionally, coaching lots of people. So, so what I started to see was, okay, there was these negative emotions that would be here. And I started to learn that I needed to acknowledge these feelings, okay? So what I found was you absolutely cannot bypass. You cannot bypass parts of yourself. You cannot bypass parts of yourself. In fact, you don't want to. And so what I want to do is turn this idea around of just like positive mindset, positive visualization, just holding the vision of what you want, and that's it, and dive a little deeper into the kind of messy waters of our emotions and really understand the divine intelligence of them. So what I'd like you to do is to think about, what would you like to manifest? And when I talk about manifest, it's what are you being guided to create? What are you being guided to become? What is aligned with your heart, your soul, your purpose? And so you can choose to manifest a certain amount of money or home, relationship, health, very specific things in your life. But from the way that I teach this work, it's really something that is actually in alignment with your heart and soul and purpose. Because really, really, really what we're doing here is manifesting you. We are manifesting you into your life, into your body, helping you connect to your true heart-aligned power, purpose, and prosperity. So it's an inside-out job, right? We think we want something that comes from the outside, but this work is about inner transformation for outer change. So we want to, eventually we're going to connect inward, but we start because it's sort of how the mind thinks sometimes. What is it that you really want? What do you want to manifest? What do you want to create? What is calling you, or what are you calling in? And you can absolutely call in money, because money is a very powerful portal for this deeper work, right? Or anything else, health, relationship, love, business. Maybe there's a certain amount of clients you want to work with. Maybe you want to write a book or be speaking on stages. What is it for you? What are you really wanting to manifest and to create? What are you wanting to experience? What are you wanting to have? And really bring that into the session today, because that's partly why we're here. We're learning how to powerfully create in alignment with your heart, in alignment with your purpose, to manifest, to reawaken that creative power within, okay? So let's bring that in, Welcome your intentions into this space with the deepest love and care, And where you are now is absolutely perfect. So welcome it in. No shame. Welcome it in. Claim it. Say it. Say yes. And if you want to share with us what that is for you, please type it in the comments. I would love to know what you're calling in. My heart can hold space for your intentions as well. This space can hold you and your intentions. So bring it, share it, and we'll receive it with the deepest love and care. So then my next question for you is this. And it requires you to dive a little deeper, to maybe take a deep breath within, to feel yourself. I want to ask you, what is going within you that is stopping you or blocking you from manifesting your desire into reality? What emotion, what thought, what belief is stopping you or blocking you from welcoming in, from manifesting your intention into reality? So it might take you a moment to sit with that. If you're listening to the recording, you can pause, reflect, journal, write on it. So what is stopping you or blocking you? And maybe you'll feel it as an emotion or a sensation or an awareness or an image. What is stopping you or blocking you from manifesting your intention into reality now? And again, I'd love to know. So if you feel courageous to share vulnerably, please comment below and let me know. I'd really like to know. Again, we're going to welcome this part of you with the deepest love and care. Okay. So now we're going to dive into this. I lovingly call your abundance block, so you could call it a money block, right? We're going to dive into this a little bit more. So this block, this part of you that's stopping or blocking you, is, and perhaps it's an emotion, because often it comes up as an emotion. It can come up as a belief, but there'll be an emotion connected to it. If we dive a little bit deeper. And what I want you to know is that this block, this abundance block, or you could call it a money block, or even a wealth block, mindset block, right, is an aspect of yourself. It's an aspect of yourself that was not held in love, was not held in safety, that was not acknowledged, that was not listened to, that was not taken care of. So this block, right, is an aspect of the self that, because it wasn't received in love and care, wasn't seen, witnessed, acknowledged, honored, respected, listened to, right, has gone into what I like to call the shadows of shame. Hidden, buried, locked away. Okay. So part of this work and part of this process, and the thing is, the challenge of this is because some of these parts have been hidden, buried, locked away in the shadows of shame that lie in the abundance block, are in your blind spots. They're in your blind spots. And so it can be even sometimes impossible to even know what they are. And so as we're doing this journey of manifesting, what you're doing is you're I call it mining for gold. You're digging deeper and deeper into the self and starting to uncover and discover yourself, right? There's gold within. You're eventually to reveal your creative power, eventually to reveal your immense power and purpose and your true prosperity. But what it requires is for us to be brave, courageous heart warriors. Because to really dive deep into this means feeling means feeling yourself. Now, many of you have done a lot of work. Most people that come and work with me have done a lot of self-development work already. Your emotions aren't new to you. This isn't new information that you have emotions, right? But what I want to sort of share with you today is how to work with your emotions in a very conscious way to help you powerfully create, help you powerfully manifest. That's what we're doing. So what happens, and what I hear a lot, especially with women, is going into a lot of story, feeling like, what's wrong with me? I'm not good enough. I'm not capable enough, right? This real not enough wound that shows up. And it shows up. And what I want to say is, it's not that there's something wrong with you. There's something very right about you that just hasn't been met yet, that hasn't been held yet. So what will happen is these emotions come up. These emotions come up. And one of the most powerful, most important thing that I've learned, and again, I've learned this the hard way because I tried to bypass my emotions, trust me. I tried to manifest just being positive all the time. And it works to a degree, and there is wisdom in that information, but there was a huge piece missing there for me in that, which is about really we value these positive emotions, right? So in my house growing up, we were allowed to have joy, we were allowed to be happy, we were allowed to be positive, but there wasn't any room for what we call the negative emotions. Anger, right? Fear, right? Grief. Okay, so one of the things that I've learned is that we need to hold these emotions, learn how to hold these emotions, meet these emotions with the deepest love and care. But when these parts of yourself have not been held and met, growing up in those early stages of development, it can be very challenging to do this for yourself. And I would say you may need support with this. You may need someone to hold space for you to help you with this, because we have blind spots here. It's big blind spots, and these are these abundance blocks. This is the part of you that's the iceberg under the water. But this is where the wealth is. This is where the abundance is at. And so I want to encourage you to dive in, even though it can be very, very painful. So some of the emotions that we want to look at, and we could call them the negative emotions, but what I would really love is if we could just right now release all judgment around good or bad emotions. What if we released all judgment around all of the emotions? That somehow it's good to be happy and it's bad to be sad, right? And this was very much what I was trained in. And what I found is there's immense intelligence in every single emotion, and it's got a purpose. And our job is to listen. Our job is to honor. Our job is to hold space and to be curious. And from that place, we open up doors, portals into whole new realities and ways of being that your heart is guiding you home to. So what I know is that your pain is a portal. Your emotions are a portal into the life that you truly desire. So we need to go in and through, be with them. Now, a lot of you are empaths, a lot of you are highly sensitive. And so the challenge of that is you will also be feeling and perceiving, picking up on other people's unheld emotions. So it's a little bit of a journey to navigate. But we start with being with them. They're not all yours, but they're what you're feeling and experiencing, and we need to help you to kind of set them free. And there's lots of different tools and techniques out there to be with your emotions. One of the ones I love is emotional freedom technique, for example, meditation, movement, journaling. There's healing. There's so many tools and techniques, therapies that you can use, okay? And I know that many of you are highly tooled, right? So this isn't about teaching you new tools and techniques, but we want to really, I'm here to basically inspire you to dive even deeper, to be even more courageous, to go in. So some of the emotions I wrote down that have immense intelligence in them are fear and anxiety, anger, frustration, guilt, shame, grief, depression, grief, depression. And again, in our world, we're often taught to sort of get rid of these or like medicate or, but what I want to invite you into is why I call in the heart warriors, the courageous conscious leaders, because this does take courage to dive in, to go and meet these aspects of the self, these shadow aspects of the self, right? And what I found is they're here, these emotions are here to guide you home, into yourself. And the emotions, the emotional intelligence is here to actually guide you home if you choose to connect and to listen, And what I found personally, it's very hard to ignore these emotions. You can try and escape. I've done lots of escapism. Eating disorders, overeating, drugs, alcohol, like I mean, done it all the distractions, and still it's sometimes very nice to have a glass of wine, right? Or watch Netflix or whatever. But I found that you cannot really escape yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. So I'd be like, trying to manifest and visualize and get out into a positive mindset, and then feeling like I was being slammed back again and again and again, until I've learned, the slow and hard and painful way to keep going in and meeting these feelings again and again and again and again and again and again. And this is really about learning how to hold yourself, how to meet yourself and love yourself in a way that you perhaps were never held, met, and loved growing up. So they're an aspect of the self that gets sort of frozen in time, if you will. And there may be a need, for inner child work, working with that inner child part of the self. But what I want to just reassure you is that these emotions, when you have the courage to sit with them and be with them and listen to them, once this part of you is heard, held, acknowledged, something really, really powerful happens. Where once you feel safe, essentially, the armor of protection drops away. Doors open, and you start to step into a new world. It can feel like a new world. Step into a new depth within yourself, a new level of embodiment, stepping into a new level of your power, a new level of your purpose, a new level of awareness, of connection. And what I found is through these, negative emotions, when we be with them, hold them, listen to them, they're here to actually drop us in. It's not a comfortable process, but a very, very important one. And it's, for what I've found, is the absolute essential key to manifesting abundance in particular, helping you come home to wholeness, to connection, right? Because in there is also the deepest love, the deepest safety, peace, right? So it's interesting because we were totally designed, our protection is here to protect us from all these bad feelings, but it's like it stops us from being able to plant the seed. So kind of keep bouncing, boom, boom, bada boom, bada boom, and spinning off into the mind, spinning off into anxiety, or going into total overwhelm. And actually from that place, it's very, very hard to take aligned action in your life and your business, right? So we need to hold space. So what I'd really, really like to ask you, is when your emotion comes up, or when this abundance block comes up, what is stopping you or blocking you, which may be very, very deep. It's often very, very deep. And there might be certain levels and layers that you meet over months and years on this path. But what I want to ask you is, what do you need? What do you need? So if you're meeting yourself in the deepest love and care and honor, we go in, we sit with that part of you, like you'd sit with a child, right? Who's sad or scared or angry. How are you feeling? You could start with that. And what do you need? What do you need? For me, part of this is meeting these very deep unmet needs that are unmet needs from a very long time ago. What do you need? And then I would like you to ask yourself, how can I meet that need? And what do I need to do? And this is aligned action. What do I need to do to meet that need? And again, you might, if you're listening to the recording, want to pause this and spend some time journaling, meditating, reflecting on these questions. What do you need? And how can I meet that need? So this is really about you learning how to, I call it reparenting yourself, how to meet that need, listen to that need, acknowledge that need, and then what do I need to do to meet that need? And this might feel very, again, if there's programming or beliefs, right, from your childhood to, reject, ignore, abandon yourself in these emotions, it can be really challenging to meet those needs. It's a very simple question, but a very, very profound process. So, and the other thing I'd like to ask is what space do you need? Because these emotions, they need to be held. They need to be listened to. They need to be loved. They need to be acknowledged. They need you to hold them, or they need to be held. If you are not able to hold yourself in these emotions, seek a professional to hold space for you so that you can learn how to be held and loved in this part of you. I promise you, this is an essential, powerful key to manifesting what you desire. The part of yourself you cannot love and cannot receive will be mirrored in your business, will be mirrored in your bank account. You'll be kind of unconsciously rejecting, unconsciously blocking, unconsciously pushing away the very thing that you desire. But it's so in the shadows, it's in our blind spots. So it's quite hard to navigate sometimes on your own, just so you know. But you can do a lot on your own. So what space do you need? Is it kind of meditation? Is it nature time? We were talking about sacred space in one of the past trainings. What sacred space do you need? And I'd really love you to listen. And your inner child self might be highly demanding, needy, which is one of the worst things I could imagine being, before doing this work, needy, right? Children need a lot of attention. They need it. They need it to know who they are, where they are. And there's different stages of development, from baby to toddler to, the older years. But children need to be held and loved, to know kind of who they are, where they are, that they're safe. And unfortunately, most of us have not been given the depth of care and love and safety that you've needed to really thrive. We live in a world of a lot of trauma and a lot of pain, and a lot of disconnection and separation from nature, from our true nature. And so you, beautiful, courageous heart leader, warrior, are here to start within, that inner transformation for outer change. So thank you for doing this work, sending ripples of transformation out to the world. We start with you. So what you need, how can you meet that need, and what space do you need to do that? And I would really like you to ask this part of you, and how often? Because often it's every day, just so you know. We have like some deep needs, so we want to listen. We want to listen and acknowledge. So when the emotion comes up, we want to really listen, be with it, hold space for it, and be curious. Journal with these emotions. What are these emotions feeling? They need to be held. So really the first step is to sit with them, be with them, listen to them, acknowledge them. And then hear what they have to say, right? Hear what they have to say. So this is where we want to step into what I love to call the badass boss bitch business boundaries, babe. That's what I call them. Where this is like, how do your emotions help you? Find your no so you can find your yes. Find your no so you can find your yes. Honor your no so you can honor your yes. And this is how we create boundaries, safe containers, structures, systems in your business, in your life, right? Safety, structures, and sustainable systems in your life and your business that actually help you to grow, in your bank account, in your business, in your life. And part of the ways to find those boundaries, especially if you have trauma, if your boundaries have been very much crossed, and if you weren't really honored, it can be very hard to find where those boundaries are. So part of this is your emotions will also help you find your no to help you find your yes. So this takes a lot of refinement and time, because when you go into an emotional reaction, there can be all sorts of actions you want to take that aren't necessarily in alignment. So what I recommend is not to take any big action from a reaction. So you want to do this inner process of listening, holding, being with, honoring, so those emotions can calm down, the reaction can calm down, right? Honoring the emotions, bringing down the anxiety, bringing down the anger, being with what is, bringing it down, 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 down. Really, really listening to the need, and really, really listening. And then eventually when you're listened to and acknowledged, those reactions will calm down, and then you can find clarity in there. Anger, I find, really shows us sometimes where our boundaries have been crossed. And it doesn't mean you go out and kind of lash out and shout at everyone, but it's about going, okay, where is my no here? And learning how to honor and acknowledge that in a calm, you can do that eventually in a calm, kind, loving way, but a calm, clear way, right? So sometimes we find our boundaries the hard way, right? We don't really know where our boundaries are until someone's crossed it, right? So this is, again, a refinement. It's a quite an advanced practice, if you will. And what I want to say is just give yourself time and space to be curious, to listen, right? And you'll find at the end of it, the bottom of it, the bottom, like the bottom of the ocean of the self, into the base chakra of yourself, into that pelvic floor of the self, really listening. Really listening. What do you need? And then also sometimes it's, where is your no here? Like, what is not working for you here? And then when we honor the no and honor the boundary, which your emotions will tell you, then we can find the yes. So what is in alignment? What do you need? And your emotions will show you where you need more safety, where you need more structure, systems to support you in a sustainable way. And I do this because we create this funnel of receiving then. To receive, we need a container, a safe container to receive in. So in time, and again, this may take time. I'm talking months and years to refine here. In time, right, we can start building and creating new foundations within the self that create foundations for receiving into. And this gets mirrored in your bank account and your business. But we start within. We need those foundations within. And your emotions are here to help you build those systems that are in alignment with your nature, in alignment with your heart, in alignment with all of life. It's really beautiful, but it can take some time to navigate and move through all the noise and the mess and the wounding and the trauma, right? The misaligned energies. There's a lot to sift through. So please know, we're in this for the long game, right? This isn't quick fix stuff. You're going to have to keep meeting yourself over and over and over again, day after day after day. Just like if you're parenting a child, you're going to keep meeting that child day after day after day. They need looking after. They need care. And so do you. And so do you. And this is how we build really beautiful, heart-aligned, sustainable businesses, right? That's in harmony and alignment, because when we're honoring our own needs, we honor life. We honor our own life, and we honor all of life, starting with you. Inner transformation, outer change. One heart at a time, one body at a time, one business at a time. Okay, beautiful one. So there is a lot here. And as you can see, this is a long-term game process, right? And it takes time. Where I'm not into this quick fix stuff anymore, because I've learned it just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. I still have deep and powerful emotions. And sometimes the more you do this work, the more you uncover and discover. It doesn't get easier. It can sometimes get more intense. And not to scare you off, it's just like, There's just more and more for us to uncover and discover, which I find immensely exciting. There's so much treasure. There's so much gold. There's so much wealth for you to find within and without. And we're not talking the kind of wealth that we've been sold, right? It's a much deeper, richer experience. It includes money, it includes things, but it's a wealth, it's a richness, it's an abundance that is like brings us true fulfillment. Money's part of it, but it's just a piece of it, right? The things are a part of it, but it's just a piece of it. I grew up in wealth. I grew up in physical wealth, but it was devoid of emotional support, right? So that was a type of a poverty. And so for me, it's like, how do we bridge it? All the wealth, the spiritual wealth and the emotional wealth and the physical wealth, and we bring it together in a way that's truly honoring life, that's truly sustainable, where all life can thrive. And your emotions are here to guide you home to that. Your emotions will show you when you're out of alignment with yourself, when you've left yourself, when you haven't honored yourself. And unfortunately, no one else can really do that for you. They can try, but you need to learn how to start with honoring and giving this to yourself, and life will start to mirror that back to you. And if you don't, you get your badass boss bitch boundaries out. It's like, no, no. This is what I require of you to enter my sacred space, right? Deep self-honoring, not from, we don't have to be unkind, we don't have to be unloving, just clear, honoring, protecting, but from a place of empowerment, true empowerment. So beautiful ones. I'd love to know, what are your takeaways? What are your takeaways? What is one of the things that's really jumped out of you today from today's training? I'd really love to know. Know that there's a lot to digest here, so you may want to go back and listen to this again. You may wish to go back and listen to this again and again. And remember, because when you're up in the emotional reaction, it can be really challenging to remember, okay, how do I hold myself? How do I meet myself? How do I learn to kind of hold myself in this now? What do I need? It can take a little bit of time to figure that out. So it does need time and space. You need time and space. It's not a failure, and I promise you there's beautiful, beautiful gifts. These emotions have incredible intelligence that if you stay with long enough, calm down the reaction, the doors will start opening. Solutions will start appearing. Ideas will start coming. And then you'll be tapping into deeper levels of joy, creativity, freedom, peace, love. But all of you is welcome. All of your emotions are welcome. They all have a role to play. They all have a role to play. So you embrace all of life, and then all of you, right? And when all of you feel safe and welcome, then you really start tapping in to your power that's aligned with your heart. You start tapping into new levels of your purpose, grounding in, listening, connecting, and really coming home to your true prosperous nature, to prosperity, to abundance. It's gorgeous. We've got some work to do though, right? We're leading this new path, creating this new pathway, figuring it out as we go. It's going to be messy, but it's going to be beautiful. And I'm so glad to share this journey with you. Let me know what your takeaways are. I'd love to hear. And if you would like some support with this, for me to hold space for you in your emotions, to uncover the wisdom and depth of wealth within you, I have opened up 5 spaces to book in for a free abundance activation session with me. And the link is below to book in for that. And it would be a pleasure and honor to connect with you in this way and see what wisdom wants to be uncovered and discovered. This wealth wants to be uncovered and discovered today. So much love to you. Deepest love and care. Go gently, kindly, lovingly towards yourself. This isn't easy, but I promise you it's worth it. All my love.